What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. And we've got very special guest, friend of the show, Lewis. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm all right. The football is a lot more stressful, but the less I think about that, the better. But yeah, everything's going decent. What about you, man? Leicester City, you're doing excellently this season.
We are, do you know what? We're just happy to be here, regardless of what everybody says. We're just happy to be at the top. A lot of us had likes of us about mid-table this season, but I'm happy to be proved wrong. So I just thought you'd get your thoughts on obviously the recent game against Fulham and how that's going, because at the moment Chelsea are on. It's a weird season for everybody. I think especially Chelsea with the money that you spent in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, the whole season is just a bit weird. I think with us, especially as Chelsea fans, a lot of us would have really overestimated the potential of this team right now. Not as players, I think as a squad, I still think we have one of the best squads in the league. But in terms of gelling players together, in terms of the manager having his finished article and what he wants out of the squad, we're still miles away from whatever we really want to achieve as a club. So we had a bit of a wake up call over the last month, but I mean, other than that, it's been okay, but like there's been so many problems as well through this season. It's all about your perspective with us.
Ah, it's interesting. So, what do you think from what you've seen from Blues Fan TV and from your personal stuff? What are the Chelsea's fans' opinion of Frank Lampard? Because there's been all sorts of stuff being thrown around about him at the moment.
I think they've got at the very least be at a middle stage. Like there's fans who are hardcore Lampard in, fans who are hardcore Lampard out. And to be honest, it's a good thing we aren't in grounds because it'd be even more toxic than the Sarri times knowing us. Because Sarri was bad, but Frank Lampard, to the guys who really want him to stay, he's Chelsea's greatest ever legend, which means they're going to hold on to him for dear life. We've low-key got our own little Arsene Wenger situation, except without the 16 years plus of experience and trophies, which is half the reason what's even justifying the Lampard out fans, but see how many different layers there is to it. There's a lot of fans who want Frank Lampard out. A lot of fans turned after the Arsenal defeat based off how embarrassing that was. Me personally, I'm in the middle. I'm happily sitting on the fence on this one because I do think Lampard can change things up. I have seen him change up tactics and formation before and been a lot more versatile as a manager in his first season than he was this season. So if anything, it's just more baffling for me, and I'm sitting here just wondering why the hell Lampard's regressed so much as a manager this season. But I want to give him the time to try and change things up at the very least till the end of this month. But for Lampard as well, time is running out for him. We're not going to be as patient as Arsenal fans were with Arteta or United fans are with Ole. If we don't see the results, just out of fear of not wanting to be like them, that's what's going to be the one that pushes half of the fans to turn against him and to be Lampard out.
It's going to be an interesting one coming into the season. I think he'll still be there, but again, with the players, some of them just take, as you've probably seen them from your end, they just take time to settle in, and they had to hit the ground running, and they just haven't. But that's just taking Chelsea in a context. I mean, a lot of other players have had the same thing in other clubs. But just over to you. What are your as the ambitions of Chelsea changed since the beginning of the season? I know you guys are talking about title contenders. Now, what's the ambition of Chelsea now?
Title contenders, that was what we did. We were just getting way too overconfident with all of our signings. I mean, right now, apparently we're interested in Erling Haaland over the summer, so just watch us do the exact same thing again and just be twice as shameless. But for our predictions for the season, I still wanted us to just get above 66 points because that shows progression for me. I'll still want us to get top three minimum, but I understand with how tight and competitive the league table is. You can understand if we flatline for another season and get fourth place. I won't be overly happy with it, but I'll be accepting of it. As a bare minimum, we have to finish in the top four. As a bare minimum, and that's not even as an achievement at this point. If we get top four, it's like, cool. We ain't had an embarrassing season. We ain't completely embarrassed ourselves, but same way, we haven't really hit our targets. I wanted top three as a minimum. I still want top three as a minimum. The only target we've hit right now is that we're closer to the top of the table than we were last season. But that's also showing how packed the table's been and how bad results have been all across the league table. Because last season, we'd probably be seventh or eighth right now in the form that we're in. This season, no. To be honest, this season we're like eighth or ninth right now. But the fact is we're still 4 or 5 points off top four. That wouldn't be the case last season. which has only shown how competitive the league is this season. But it's also shown how bad everyone's form is, and you can say that's given Chelsea a bit of relief, but that's also missed opportunities for us. Fact is, if we beat Arsenal, we beat Aston Villa, we'd be a point off the league champions by that point. But we didn't win either of those games. We've lost our last 3 away games, going into another away game against a team above us that, as we've seen with all the other teams above us this season, we can't beat. So there's a lot going into this match. I am very interested, but also very cautious as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree that there's a lot of caution at the moment, because even with Leicester, we've got 5 losses this season so far, and we're still sitting 2 points behind the leaders. So it shows you that this season it's just all over the place in terms of results going one way, results going another. It's great because smaller teams like us are starting to prove and starting to get into that top bracket as well. But just wanted to get your thoughts on kind of, obviously you said you were linked with Eric Haaland and stuff at the moment, but is that the Chelsea way to kind of just spend your way out and believe in Frank Lampard? Because at the moment with like Giroud, Abraham, you've got sort of Werner, obviously with these top players, you've got the strike force. Is having more players for competition going to work?
All depends on how many there is. Like, one of the big problems that we have at our squad right now, and one of Lampard's biggest issues, is the overinflation of players. And this has basically meant that he's kind of losing players, but only in terms of the fringe players. The players that play regularly for Chelsea are mostly happy with Frank Lampard. But it's the players who have barely seen any game time on the pitch who are turning against him, because we've got so many first-team players in our squad and so many players that we didn't get rid of as well. We've got right now 4 goalkeepers if you want to include Petr Cech. I'm only including him because he's still my second-choice goalkeeper at this point. You've got 5 centre-backs, 4 left-backs, 6 centre mids, 3 strikers, and about 3 wingers.
Jesus.
Wingers is the only place where we're probably down a player, but the other ones we're above. We've got two more centre mids than we need, potentially one. One extra left back, although to be honest, I'd get rid of both Emerson or Alonso if a decent option came up. 2 centre backs, and we've got another 2 that are on loan as well. We're trying to break into the first team. 3 if you're going to include Fikayo Tomori, who's going out on loan within days. That's massive overinflation within the squad. And with Frank Lampard, he does rotate, but only within a certain circle of players. So the Athletic reported on this after the Arsenal game, that he's lost favour with some of the fringe players. And they never said names, but it's easy to tell. Just look at the players who don't play regularly. Fikayo Tomori, I believe, would be in that. Marcos Alonso, I believe, would be in that. Maybe Jorginho. I think he's been very professional on the pitch, even though his form hasn't been all that good. But I think he's maintained professionalism. But even in his recent games, he's regressed as well, so he could be in there. Kepa, maybe 72 million, most expensive goalkeeper in football history, doesn't play, sits on the bench. Not Olivier Giroud, to be honest. He's been professional, but there might be stuff behind the scenes. But it's easy to figure out with names. So that's been one of the biggest issues for us. But spending our way out of trouble, yeah, that's the Chelsea way. We're shameless about it. I can't lie. If we've got a problem, we'll throw money at it and the problem will go away. We don't even have too much of a problem because, like I said, our squad's amazing. In terms of depth, one of the best teams in the league. Mm-hmm. But it's the system that continuously fails us and lets us down.
So in terms of that system, obviously you're coming away from home as well. But we'll get onto that in a bit. But in terms of formation, I saw that last time against Fulham, you're setting up a 4-3-3, and with the formation you were playing there, is that what we can expect as Leicester fans, you coming to our ground?
Yeah, don't expect anything else. Maybe we'll play a 4-4-2. We've been switching to that in the last 10-15 minutes of games, although that might be a plan B for us. And if that's a plan B, at least Frank Lampard's showing signs of one. But other than that, expect 4-3-3. Expect Werner should probably start because he didn't play the last game and he's had the second most minutes for us this season. Mount will probably start. Kante suspended for the game. Yeah, other than that, just expect the same 4-3-3 formation.
Okay, well, hopefully Brendan Rodgers has done his homework on that because that'll be an interesting one. Also, I want to get your thoughts on Chelsea's away record. Our away record, I think, we'll do a show on your channel as well about Leicester's away record. But how have Chelsea been on the road?
Initially, we were all right, but now we haven't won in our last 3 away games. and it's a bit sticky because we're going to you lot as well. I know your home record hasn't been all right this season, but same way our record against teams above us this season hasn't been. It doesn't even show for anything because we haven't got a W yet. First time for everything, I can guess, but you lot are in really good form as well. So it's really hard to just think, yeah, Leicester will be the team that we bend over and we finally get a result against. Like, you can say it, but I don't really say it with too much conviction. You lot are unbeaten in your last 6 games, am I correct?
I think it was maybe the 6. I think it was 5, but I think the Southampton might have taken it to 6. Yeah.
Yeah, look at the form you lot are in. Us, we've got 1 win in our last 6, 7 games. Granted, it came in our last game against Fulham, but that's like one of the most unconvincing wins I've seen in the last 5 years. It was a terrible performance.
I was going to say, because obviously after watching just the highlights on Match of the Day and seeing the last minute winner, like for example, you compare that to what Leicester did when we had that counter they broke and Harvey Barnes puts it away. And I remember saying to you, I think when we drew 2-2 and Harvey Barnes missed that sitter, it was that same kind of thing where I was like, this guy will get time and he's finally coming into his own. You just got to give him time. And obviously the difference between a bloke from Leicester and Timo Werner is on 2 different levels, but that's what's going from that kind of our level of kind of we'll give players time, we'll let them bed in to Timo Werner at that top level. But I think he will get there in time.
Oh, definitely. Werner's a quality player, and everyone's focusing on his poor misses. And to be fair, his conversion rate absolutely reeks. That's one thing I will not defend. But the volume of chances that this guy makes for himself as a striker, he constantly gets in the right positions. He's constantly doing everything right except the final finish, and that is literally it with him. Granted, also, his first touch has also stunk out the pitch in recent games, but that also screams confidence, in my opinion. Right now, he's failing to do the basics, which definitely looks like a head problem. And half the reason for that is because he's only played up front for about 2 or 3 games this season. Also, same way, if we play the way we play, we shouldn't even be playing him up front because all we'll do is end up spamming crosses into him, and that's one of the most useless things you can do to Timo Werner. I like him, but fact is he is a system player. You have to play to his strengths. You can't expect him to just fit into any sort of style of play. You need to give him space. You need to give him something to run in behind to, and then you'll probably be able to get the best out of him. Right now, we play him on the left-hand side. We have him hug the touchline like a substitute, and he just feels uncomfortable and predictable every time he comes into space and then tries to do something with the ball. So at the very least, I'd like to see us playing next to a big striker as a striker as well. Like we've done that with Tammy Abraham, and it works against the smaller sides that will give him a bit of space. But it's not consistent. It won't work consistently. And I think maybe as a 4-4-2 it could work, but I need to see him in a different sort of formation because him in the 4-3-3. I only back him on the right wing, and no one even plays him on the right wing. But I think he'd be a lot more comfortable in that position if we're going to stick to this formation. Because at the very least, he beats a player, and he's on his comfortable right foot. He can put in a cross to Olivier Giroud or Tammy if he wants. He can have a shot across the face of goal. There's a lot more options for him, except if he's on his left-hand side, on the far side of the pitch, and all he has to do is come inside. And then what's he going to do? The obvious, he's going to cut inside. Predictable play every single time.
Let's hope that he has more predictable plays against us, to be honest, because we're going to have to use it because we are in a rich vein of form and it looks like things are going to be in our favor. Just as in terms of the way people are looking at it, just a quick one about 2 of our former players. And first of all, you bought in the summer, Chilwell. There's been, from what I've seen from your fans, a lot of speculation about his antics post-match as well, where he's hugging the players and smiling and stuff, which is exactly the same thing that happened at Leicester before he left, if you can remember. I just want to get your thought. And he's obviously got a lot of assists and got some even goals this season. How's he been for you?
I mean, for him, the standard was already in hell with Marcus Alonso and Emerson, so I think he's had a great season, to be honest. He has fallen, I won't say he's fallen off, but he's like slowed down a bit in recent weeks. I think part of that's also due to being massively overplayed, also because of the other left backs that we had. But he's had some good performances in him still, even through our bad period. The Aston Villa game was probably our best player on the pitch. Yeah, I mean, it is annoying watching him taking a piss with Saka after he's just ripped us in a London derby. But I mean, what are you gonna do about it? Like, I can't complain too much. I'm more focused on the fact that we've lost 3-1 to the worst Arsenal side in 50 years, more than him joking about Saka. Um, yeah, as a left back, he ain't been too bad for us. Yes, there's definitely been a drop in form for us, but he never really needed to do too much. I remember us saying in previews, like, I didn't care what left back we got. If it was Tagliafico, if it was Reguilon, if it was Ben Chilwell, as long as it's at a semi decent price, I'm happy with it, because anyone to replace Marcus Alonso and Emerson consistently is a good player in my books. And Ben Chilwell just fits the bill. Didn't need to do a lot. It's the same thing with Edouard Mendy. Edouard Mendy literally captures a ball and we all celebrate because of how low the standards are after Kepa. And that's exactly the same with Alonso and Emerson. So for Chilwell, it's also been easy for him to assimilate himself into a squad. But it's hard because we play half our play off the right-hand side. They call us Reece James and Inshallah, and they mean that for a reason, because we play most of our play off the right-hand side to either him or Hakim Ziyech. Ben Chilwell is more of a support player on the left-hand side. So the role's also kind of easier for him, but he's shown that he can do it when we play a majority on the left-hand side. We did that in the Aston Villa game because Reece James is out, played most of our play off the left-hand side. He got an assist in that game and was our most threatening fullback. So, yeah, he's had a good season. He's had a really good season.
Well, great to hear that a player's doing well for you. And another player, obviously, you said he's suspended for this game, but N'Golo Kante, there's been a lot of turmoil as well around him and his position and what he plays. How's he been for you and Chelsea this season?
He's been really good for us, but I've also said fans have got blinded over the winning run that we had over the start of the season, at the midpoint of the season. Like we all did. We all got gassed because we went 17 games unbeaten, and we'd all go and do it exactly the same way again if it happens. But N'Golo Kante's started the season excellently. I think he still has the most interceptions in the league this season and most tackles. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. But what was it? We had a bad period in the 4-2-3-1 and he looked absolutely awful and couldn't pass forwards to save his life. So we ended up switching to a 4-3-3 and we played him as a lone DM consistently for the first time in his Chelsea career. And it worked out for a little bit, but same way, I've always said Kante's more of a box-to-box centre mid, and I've said that for years. And the reasons why, like I looked at the games we were playing. Burnley, don't press. Spurs don't press. Krasnodar, they don't press. Sheffield United, they don't press. I was seeing a pattern with all the teams that we were playing, and Kante was balling out against them. Granted, we played Leeds United as well, who are a really good pressing team, but they're also not the finished article. N'Golo Kante bossed that team, and for a while I was thinking, okay, so this guy might actually be able to do the lone DM role. But Man City was the bigger test for me. And that test he completely and utterly failed. Like he was poor throughout the Christmas period, but same way he got played every single game for 90 minutes throughout the Christmas period. So it's like if you're not going to rotate him, you're also not going to get the best out of him. Same way he was also left massively exposed in the lone DM position against Man City. He couldn't play the ball out the back to save his life. Wasn't vocal. Wasn't anything that you'd want to see from a DM, and that just kind of proved my point to me that he's more of a centre midfield that can break up play and just progress the ball forward. I mean, he hasn't had a bad season, but I think same way we've just had another season of arguing about N'Golo Kante's position when it's been plainly obvious for years where he plays at his best.
Yeah, as Leicester fans, we know that exactly, and obviously Ben Chilwell the same. But yeah, best of luck for tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's game. I'm trying to get it out tonight, but best of luck for tomorrow's game, Lewis. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, guys, check me out on CareFreeLewisG on YouTube and Twitter, and check out Blues Fans TV as well.
Brilliant, Lewis. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you all soon. And make sure I'm on Lewis's channel, so make sure to check over him. We've got a preview with us, Chappie, and two other Lewis and another Chelsea fans. So I'm really looking forward to that. So make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll see everybody in the next video. Goodbye.